One of the absolute biggest challenges that I see not only with my own clients, but myself and many other people including, is hitting their daily protein goal. There is no doubt it is a huge challenge for most people. And when it comes to you reaching whatever fitness goal is that you have, whether you are trying to burn fat or whether you are trying to build muscle, it is essential not only to hit your overall calories that's gonna take you to that goal, but remain consistent with your protein intake. So if you're in a fat loss phase, you retain your muscle, or if you're in a muscle building phase, you have the proper amount of protein in your system so that your body is properly fueled with the right macronutrients so that it recovers and builds stronger and bigger muscles. In today's video, guys, we're gonna take not only my clients' challenges, maybe your biggest challenge with hitting your protein intake, and sometimes my challenge too with hitting my daily protein intake, into action with a full day of eating. And the first thing that we start our day out with every single day, wrong. We started out with not coffee, but 30 ounces of water. And yes, this is a whole gallon of water right here. But what I do in the morning is I like rocking one big gallon jug all day for my total water intake. But what I like to do is I like to grab one of these glasses, which is 15 ounces, and I will do 2 of these. In my first glass though, I always like to do a combination of a little bit of salt in there. So we fill this guy up with water, fill it up with, or not fill it up with, but add just a serving of salt, making my own electrolyte combination. And lately what I have been using, you guys can choose whatever you want. You could straight up buy any electrolyte mix that works best for you. But for me, I've just been making my own concoction with a little bit of salt. And then I buy one of these electrolyte squeeze packets. This one's Arctic Frost. I just tried this one for the first time today and it tastes quite nice. And then I also have it in my daily habit to add in my daily creatine right here in the morning drink. Again, creatine is not something that is better right before a workout or right after a workout. It just is meant to be consistently in your body. So I take 5 grams of this, about a half a gram of sodium, and then a little bit of this electrolyte blend. I put it in the first glass of this, which is 15 ounces, slam that down, and then you know what I do? I fill it back up and I do another one of these so that my first intake of the day with anything is water, so that you're properly hydrating your body with water, because we are made up of 70%, I believe is roughly where we're at with water. So you gotta make sure that you're not skipping out on your water. And another thing too that I do want to add also, guys, is there's a lot of studies that are shown that when you delay your caffeine intake for about an hour to even an hour and a half after you wake up, that allows, I'm just gonna say it this way, it allows the sleepy hormone to get flushed out of your body, which movement can also help that too. So that's when I go on my morning walk. And then when I get back from my morning walk and I do my morning routine and I sit down for work, after doing that, it's typically about an hour to an hour and a half, and then I'm ready to attack the day, brew that fresh cup of coffee, enjoy it. And when it comes to coffee, I add a little bit of sugar-free creamer in there, just so you guys know exactly what I'm consuming. And for the rest of the video today, guys, we have 3 more meals. We got a breakfast, lunch, and a dinner, which is gonna be a little bit of a later night snack. That's just typically how I like to eat. And guys, you are not going to want to miss out on any of them, but especially the dinner one. So make sure you sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. Before we dive into breakfast today, I actually wanna drop a couple tips for you guys that might help you out, especially if you are currently trying to drop some body fat. So there's different seasons, as we know, when it comes to fitness. And when we are in a fat loss phase, that is a season where we might have to dedicate a little bit more time to get to our destination or get to our fat loss goals. Because we all know that the fastest route is the most precise route when it comes to your nutrition. And the most precise route to go is to track your calories and your macros. And so it's so important to be able to do that. So prioritize tracking your calories and macros. Now, something that I really want to share with you that is extremely helpful, we have 2 tips here. Tip number 1 is, especially as your calories get lower and lower, try and fill your diet with more of a whole food based diet. That 80-20 rule, try and go even 90-10. And when you do that, what's going to happen is your ingredients that are in the meals are going to become a lot more simple. So for breakfast today, we're gonna be making simple go-to protein oatmeal. We're gonna be using our protein source, we're gonna be using our carbohydrate source, and this is gonna be a lower fat meal, so I don't have much fat in this meal. So we're gonna be pairing that with another carbohydrate source. And I'm just doing 1 serving of each one. Now, the nice thing about this, and as you go further and further into your fat loss phase is, or whatever phase it is that you're on with your fitness journey, your macros and calories are going to continuously change. And because they are going to continuously be changing, in order for you to break plateaus that will come up, if you choose options, meal options that have simple ingredients, you can just simply add a little bit less oats or a little bit less frozen fruit if you really need to keep those calories down a little bit more for each meal. So hopefully that makes sense. And the second tip that I also want to share with you guys too, before we get started with our meals today, is if you can, track every single meal before that day even gets started. It makes everything so much easier. For me, I like to either do my tracking for the entire day first thing in the morning, or if you really want to be proactive about it, and if you have a spouse or if you have someone that you live with, talk with them the night before and just say, hey, what are we gonna have for dinner tomorrow? What are we gonna have for lunch if you are eating a meal together? And so if you figure that out, then you can plan that meal the night before and track that meal the night before or even the morning of. And if you do that upfront work and you track every single one of those meals, I'm not walking around when lunch or dinner comes around and starving and hangry and saying, I'm not gonna hit my calorie goal because I'm just too much in a rush or I didn't plan accordingly to actually stay with my diet. So with all that being said, guys, track your meals first thing in the morning or the night before, every single one of them, and then make sure that it lines up with your calorie goal and your macronutrient goals, whether you are going for your calories and your protein and your carbs or your fats or just your calories and your protein. Whatever level and whatever tier you are currently at, find that one that works best for you and then just keep on rolling with it. Find the system that works best for you, save the meals that you enjoy most, and I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy the whole process so much more, so much more. So for our breakfast, we are gonna keep it very simple. We are going to add 40 grams of old-fashioned oats. I have my bowl on the scale, and I like to get pretty accurate. Sometimes if the grams go over by 1 or 2, that's okay, honestly. I like to be accurate. And you know, if you do one thing in a certain way, it's most likely how you're gonna do everything. So I like to keep my macros as precise as possible. I like to keep my training as precise as possible, so I'm always moving that needle forward. But from here, we are going to add not a whole serving of fruit. What we're gonna do is we're going to add in 100 grams of fruit. Again, this is the nice thing about using whole food options is if you need a little bit less calories or a little bit less carbs in that specific meal, you're gonna be able to do so. Now what I'm gonna do is, you could see the frozen fruit and the oatmeal down below. I'm just gonna fill it up to just above the oatmeal with some water, and that is going to be the perfect amount. From here, I'm gonna throw this in the microwave for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. When this guy comes out, then we will add the protein. All right, y'all, and just like that, we are all done. We're gonna throw that back on the scale, and I'm gonna be adding a little bit more than just 1 scoop of whey protein because I'm pretty far into my current diet, and my carbohydrates and my fats are quite low, but my protein is still remaining pretty high so that I'm retaining the muscle mass. We're gonna be having every single meal at least 40 grams of protein and up. That's kind of like my benchmark. And so for breakfast here today, we are gonna be adding 40 grams of whey protein, which is a little bit more than 1 scoop. And again, this is where tracking your entire day really comes in handy, because if you track your entire day first thing in the morning and then you just go about following that game plan that you set up for yourself, it's gonna eliminate all the guesswork when it comes to the end of the day. The last thing that you are going to want is to be having some meal that's super weird because your macros were just not aligned right at the beginning of the day. So if you're tracking macros and you've done that before, you probably will know exactly what pain point it is that I'm telling you about right now. So tracking your calories first thing in the morning for every single meal, or doing it the night before, will be a quick way for you to eliminate those problems. So just like that, guys, 3 simple ingredients in this meal, and it's done in 3 minutes. Super easy, super tasty. Let's give this guy a taste test. Give that a look. But before we dive into any of this food, the one thing that we do before every single meal, and this is just something that I've gotten into the habit of doing, is making sure that we are hydrating beforehand. And this is a great tool that you can use to help make you feel a little bit fuller before you even get started with that meal too, especially if you are in a fat loss phase and you have to eat less food and you're a little bit more hungry all the time. If you chug down some water, which we're gonna do right now, that is gonna help you reach your water goal. I drink a gallon of water a day. You don't have to do that. Everyone's a little bit different, but a good number to shoot for is half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. And if you take however many meals that you like to have in a day, and then you divide that by the total amount of ounces that you want to drink for that day, then guess what? You're gonna hit your water intake goal. Just make sure that you're not putting too much of it at the end of the day, because you don't wanna be up all night tinkling. All right, back to the oatmeal. Let's give it a taste test with a nice little berry in there. Woo, that's hot. Let me just say it, you can never go wrong with protein oatmeal. It's quick, it's easy, it's tasty, and it's very macro friendly. So what are our macros in this protein oatmeal? What I'm going to do is I'm also going to combine the calories that were in my servings of coffee creamer from this morning too. And so what we're looking at here is a whopping 425 calories in total, 34 grams of protein. We have 52 carbs, and we have 8 grams of fat. A great balance to get you started first thing in the morning. What's happening, dudes and dudettes? We just got done with a solid upper body workout. Got a nice little pump going. We are currently towards the end of my cut right now, if you guys cannot tell by how low these calories are, but we are still a kicking. And honestly, I've been really trying to dabble with as much whole foods as I can, and that has been keeping my energy and my push, my oomph at the gym nice and high. But with that being said, guys, it is time to dive into lunch now. And lunch is going to be another one that is super simple, super quick, tasty, and effective to make. So chicken breast is gonna be number 1. I like to bulk prep my chicken. We are going to grab some lavish wraps, and this is Joseph's lavish wraps. You guys are gonna be blown away by the macros on this one, and honestly, I use that in so many recipes. We got a little bit of fat-free cheddar cheese. We are going to take some cut up iceberg lettuce just to volumize this meal a little bit more. And then last up, we're gonna be stealing a little bit of the roommate's famous Dave's barbecue sauce because it looks super good, and I treated him with a Ninja Creamy ice cream the other day, so he owes me. It's gonna take 2 seconds to whip up. You can keep it cold. You can warm it up in the microwave if you want it warmed up and the cheese to be melted, but we're gonna sit down and check out those macros now. You guys, look at the size of this thing. This is crazy. I would have to say that this is a subpar, very mediocre wrap job though, but guys, we're gonna dive in with the taste test first, and then we'll dive into those macros. So simple, so easy to make, and on point with those macros, and that is what it's all about sometimes for those quick and easy lunches. All right, so I'm totally gonna redo this wrap job next time, but guys, wait until you hear the macros on this guy. We have a total for this whole thing, 483 calories only. And making up those calories, we have a whopping 68 grams of protein. That is absolutely crazy for how low those calories are. 68 grams of protein. We have 37 grams of carbs only for this whole wrap, this whole thing. And then also only 8 grams of fat. Guys, that's absolutely crazy. And again, You can switch up those macros, switch up these ingredients as you choose to best fit your goals. But right now, because we are pretty low in those calories and pretty far into this cut right now to get diced and shredded, we are definitely choosing options like the Joseph's Lavish Wraps, like the fat-free cheddar cheese, and low-fat dressing options. Not gonna lie though, this one right here, I would have this even if I'm bulking. It's so good. See you guys at the final meal. You don't want to miss out on this one. All right, guys, it's the moment that you all have been waiting for, meal number 3. And because it is a Saturday evening, we are going to be kicking it back, enjoying a little bit of Netflix, and making sure that we do not have a meal that disappoints us. And guys, on a weekend, if you ask me, I love myself some pizza, and especially pizza that also hits the macros and tastes absolutely amazing. Look at this thing, guys. And the crust also, this is no pita pizza. This is a completely homemade recipe. Look at this. I mean, come on, this is crazy. I tried this recipe out for the first time a couple weeks ago, and wow, it is phenomenal. And wait until you hear the macros on this guy. So for this entire pizza, and believe me, when you eat it, it fills you up pretty good. For this entire pizza, it's 700 calories. We have a whopping 58 grams of protein in this bad boy, 79 grams of carbs, and 16 grams of fat. And you can change up those options with whatever cheese you're using on top and other things such as the toppings to change up those macros a little bit as you need. And most of the protein actually is jam-packed in the pizza crust. Let's do a little taste test here. You know we have to do that. We're gonna get a little bit of mushroom, a little bit of pepperoni on this first bite. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely incredible, guys. We're gonna sit back and also enjoy myself a 0-calorie A&W along with this. And currently, guys, my jam has been Manifest on Netflix. It has been an awesome series so far. It's a little kooky of a start at first, but I'm digging it, honestly. I'm pretty well hooked. But anyways, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you want this exact recipe, which you do not want to miss out, check out this recipe right up here, guys. You will thank me later. And if you are new here to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button right here. My goal is to make fitness simple, fun, and effective for you. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll see you in the next one.